into it. Hello, YouTube. We're on day one of my 5-day free challenge, The Path to the Next Edge. I'm going to be speaking to the Instagram camera. How are we going? Day one is all about subconsciously imprinting yourself. We've got 5 days of incredible lives, trainings, giveaways, offers, and I'm super, super excited about what I'm going to speak about in the 5-day challenge. Honestly, I've even got notes because what I'm going to be sharing with you, it really should be a paid course. And those of you that are coming on live now free or are watching the replay within the next couple of weeks, you will have it access for free. You will learn everything I'm giving you, but it is that juicy over the next 5 days to learn how to get to your next edge. So this is really for you. If you're in the position where you're like, okay, I'm at this certain level, I'm at the brink of a transformation, but I don't know why I aren't getting to the next edge yet. This is what this 5-day challenge is going to be all about. And honestly, it's probably going to be a paid program after this. And I'm really, really excited to share everything that I'm going to. And each day has a different focus. If you don't know the schedule, if you aren't getting the updates, just let me know in the comments. If you're watching a replay, let me know if you're watching a replay. Just write replay in the comments, and I can definitely get you the schedule and what's going to happen over the next 5 days. But this is really the culmination of everything that I teach when it comes to woman mastery. So my methodology is the Woman Mastery methodology. And that means that we go through a whole reprogramming of you and your subconscious identity, your belief systems, how you regulate to a brand new capacity. I have 3 phases in the methodology. And over the next 5 days, I'm going to be going deep with you so we can make a change, because you are here to live and create an amazing, exciting, a wealthy, luxurious life. And wealthy and luxurious. Let's just get super honest with ourselves of what that is before we get into today's training, which, by the way, I have some juicy offers every single day that is only available for those of you that are watching this now live or watching the replay. But what I'm going to teach you is everything that is going to help you master the parts of you that is really keeping you in the same loops, in the same cycles. And you're probably at this point now where you have made a load of progress, where you are making an income, where you are, bringing in and attracting the relationships that you want to, you're working on yourself, your health, all of that. But wealthy and luxurious, to me, it doesn't just mean like materialistic items or cash in the bank. What I want you to start to think about is like, what for me makes me feel wealthy? Is it that materialistic item, whether it's a new handbag, or is it the ability to switch off completely on the weekend, not check your work emails, and be present with your friends and your family? That both sides of those is wealthy. Both sides of that's luxurious, and you get to have it all. And this 5-day challenge, why I wanted to get it out there, why I also wanted to kind of give so much for free in this challenge, is because I think that every high achieving woman deserves this. They deserve to be in a place where they get to experience the most wealthiest, luxurious self, where they get to be in tune with what they're here to create. I think sometimes, and I'm going to go into deeper in this, when we aren't recognizing who we are, when we aren't fully mastering ourselves as a woman, what starts to happen is we start to settle for less than we know what we deserve. Our standards start to slip. I had this conversation with my masterminders the other week about standards and expectations for ourselves. We like to have standards and expectations for other people, but what I see a lot of the time when we're trying to push to that next edge, while we're trying to make our way through to the next edge, we start to slip in our own standards. We hold ourselves to different expectations. And really, the next 5 days is about asking yourself, how am I holding myself to the next standard? How am I holding myself to a standard that is going to get me to where I want to be? And the first place, this is like the prologue. Is that the start of it of a book that I want you to think about is like what your version of success is. I get all of my clients to do this, and you may have in your head a version, or you may have it on your vision board, but I really want you to take the time now to get honest. And if you're watching this, if you're watching the replay, to write it in and like get really honest. What is your version of success? Like, what is it that you want to create? What does it mean for you to live a wealthy life? What does it mean for you to live a luxury life? And I think the most important thing when you're making your own definition of success is there is no right or wrong. There's a lot of people on the internet that will have an opinion and say this is the way to live a wealthy, luxurious life, or this is the way. It's the way that I view it is like law of polarity, neutrality. Without one, you can't have the other, and vice versa. So don't ever let someone explain their version of success and allow that to take away from your version of success. And if it is, or if you're kind of wavering in your version and wavering in how you move towards that, then this challenge is perfect for you. And one of the goodies that I have, if you are watching this live, if you were going to go through the process, the notes that I've written for you is I have a subconscious imprinting session, 60-minute session. Plus, you will also get the CEO Monday Goals Workshop, which has been called the #1 goals workshop ever for high achievers. That is at a special price of $150. So if you want to, everything I speak about today, and you want to work on your belief system, you want to actually imprint the reality, the beliefs, and you've been trying for a while, you've been doing the meditations, you've been doing the EFT tapping, you've been doing the mindset classes, and you really want someone to guide you and support you, that is available if you are watching this live now. You just have to slide into my DM, tell me that you watched day one, tell me you want a subconscious imprinting, and you will get that special price of this 60-minute session with me, which is unspoken to get it for $150, but also you will get my #1 goals workshop for high achievers. Now, when it comes to subconscious imprinting, I'm going to give you things that you were going to start and you were going to go away and do, and you were going to implement. Because to be able to move forward in everything that I teach you over the next 5 days, you need to be at a place where you are implementing and you're making decisions fast. We need to look at in our 10x view, in our future lenses, instead of taking this on and getting a dopamine hit that it sounds really good, or it's something that you like and it's something that's driving you now, you actually need to go away and start to implement. So the first step is like, what's imprinted in your mind right now? Look at your life. And the easiest way that I like to do this is quite literally start to break up your life in 4 areas. So we've got wealth, money, we've got relationships, we've got business or career, or you may have both. And then we have our health and wellness. Yes, these can be broken down into smaller sections, such as relationships could be romantic, platonic, family. But just to make it super simple for yourself, I want you to break it down in 4 areas. Then I want you to ask yourself, what is the subconscious imprinting that I currently have? What is it that I'm currently embodying when it comes to these areas of life? The easiest way to actually understand is look at your life over the past 6 months. If that's too much, trim it down to 3 months. What is your actual behavior? And it's not, oh, yeah, I'll work really, really hard, or, my relationships, I'll go on a date and then I'll ghost them. Like, get very particular. This is where most people who don't want to master themselves, who don't want to get to the next edge, will absolutely stop, because it's like the too hard basket, or I don't want to dive in deep. The work, and I had this conversation with a friend. We went to the markets on Saturday. I love the weekend markets, and we had some food. I had a matcha, and it was great. The sun was out, the sky was blue, and we had a conversation about really witnessing what we are doing when it comes to our own self-sabotaging tendencies, what we are doing when it comes to actually moving forward, but it feels like, hang on, I feel like I'm doing everything, but it's stuck at the moment. So the first part is to take the time. The people who don't take the time are the people that are going to be in the exact same cycle 6 months from now. I see it time and time again. I had a client recently. She did a 2-week container with me inside of Boxer, and we had 2 strategy calls for a business. She told me at the end of those 2 weeks, she achieved more and saw more progress and stability and structure in her business. I did a post about this as well, so go check it out. In her business in 2 weeks, and she did with a coach she was with for 18 months. And you know why? Because we always need to start at the subconscious root of what's imprinted on us, why I am acting in the way I do. You can add a million things into your day-to-day, like it's CEO Monday today, happy CEO Monday. You can add a million things into your routine and what you want to do in your work day for your business. But if you're not actually if you're subconsciously always operating in the same way that you were 3, 6, 12, 18, 24 months ago, you are going to get the same results. And I know that you are listening to this right now and you know that that's true. Like, you understand this. You have some understanding that's how it happens. But where comes the point where you actually change that? And so the first part is actually understanding, write out the sections. It will take some time. Do the work. Sit down and do the work and understand, how am I operating in my business? How am I operating with my money? Where do I start to feel, a kind of like a spiritual, energetic side to this after the practical is like when you are writing down, maybe every time that you are spending money, you will use your credit card instead of what's in your account. You have the money, but you're hoarding it. You feel like there's never enough. Sit with that. Ask yourself, like, where do you feel the tension in your body? Can you tap in like the 7 chakras? This is the energetic side to it, where there's different chakras mean different things. Where do you feel it? In your stomach, in your third eye? Do you feel it in your throat? Go look up what that means and understanding where you have imprinted and why you are operating from that point of view. And this is why the first section, most people give up, because it gets too icky. It doesn't feel nice. It doesn't feel like something that they want to actually work on. And so what I see with a lot of women is they will work on the same thing over and over and over again because it feels like some progression or it feels like a dopamine hit, but there's no change. There's nothing that is different. And so you should not do yourself a disservice by not looking at the things that you haven't looked at, the things that you put in the too hard basket. And this is really what we will dive in deep. Like, I'm giving you kind of like an overview today, but like I said, the offer for day 1, the subconscious imprinting 60-minute session, you and I actually get to the root and we start to actually unpick it. If you are trying really hard in your business and you've gotten the same results, like you're not pushing past that 10K mark or the 20K mark in your business, it can be anything. Those are just examples. You're not pushing past the 5K mark and you feel like you're doing everything, you're showing up, you're talking to your audience, you're selling. Well, let's actually understand what's imprinted on you. Let's actually understand where you're operating from. And it's not, oh yeah, my parents used to speak bad about money. A lot of people will speak about, yes, the childhood and what you picked up from your parents and primary caregivers. That's so, so important to understand yourself. But it's also the connections you've made over time. It's also that random time in high school when someone made fun of your haircut and now that's imprinted on you, that you're scared to show up talking on your stories or to make content for TikTok because what if someone says something bad for you? But you just think that you have a fear of judgment because you're of your friends or your parents. No, it's at one random time. And this is really where we get to the bottom of the road. And most people who repeat the same patterns, or they will change, and then it's like 3 months later, they go back and they revert back to what they were doing. And it's like, oh, why am I in the same self-sabotaging behavior? This is why. So go through the different sections in your life and really start to pull out why. Okay, this is what my behavior looks like now in the present moment. When did this start to come into fruition? What do I actually fully believe? Even though you may be trying to say like you're paying for stuff like I'm abundant, it comes back to me. What happens after that? What are the thoughts after that? Maybe you think, oh, there's not enough, or I'm too scared to spend because what if I don't get it back? Or I hate paying bills. In your business, if you're showing up and you're like, okay, I'm just not reaching the audience, is every time you post something, are you thinking I'm not worthy or I'm not ready yet, or it's too scary if people see me? But then you think I'm showing up every single day. Why aren't I attracting the audience I want? These are the imprints left on you. The second part to this, and we go, like I said, in the subconscious imprinting session. And if you want that, right now in the comments or slide into my DMs, tell me that you watched day 1 and you want to get a part of that session and we can dive straight into it. But it's about dissolving those. Yes, we pull them up to the surface and we understand exactly how they feel and how they look like, what the behavior is behind that, why you keep being reactive in your relationships, or why you keep burning out by Wednesday morning in your business. And then from Wednesday onwards, you're too tired to show up and then you start the cycle again. We understand why, but then we want to dissolve them. When we dissolve them, then we get rid of them. They're beliefs that are no longer a part of us. They're beliefs we no longer identify with. And then from there, we understand what belief lens do we want to look in? How are we bringing in new beliefs? How are we actually collapsing time? You hear a lot of manifestation coaches on here and teachers speak about collapsing time. Collapsing time just basically means bridging the gap between where you are, where your past self has been, and where you see your vision, your future self. Right? And you collapse that time because you've dissolved your past self beliefs, and now you're bringing in brand new beliefs that are in complete alignment with that future vision of yourself. Day 2 and day 3, we are going into the visionary lens, right? There's 2 parts to this. So in day 2, day 3, we're going deep into the identity works. We're not going to touch too much on that today, but we are going to go fully in on what it means to kind of change your identity, embody your identity. And I'm going to share a special framework that I share with my clients. But today, it's 11:11. I just looked at the clock, so make a wish as we are doing this. But I really just want you to start to think about your behavior, your reactions. Are you reactional or are you responsive? So now you have a little bit of a framework. And like I said, we go deeper into that when it comes to doing one of these sessions. But start to actually understand, am I a reactive person or am I a responsive person? The responsive part is you as someone who is actually like looking at what you are doing and you're taking the time to see yourself through a lens that is going to get you to the level that you want, and then you're responding in accordance to the level that's pushing yourself to the next edge. Reactional is why you're probably at this same level. This is what people don't understand. No matter how much work you put in, no matter how much you grind, no matter how much you feel that you're pushing through, a reactional state is probably part of the reason why you are operating in the same belief systems. Something that Joe Dispenza speaks about is every single day we are operating from our past self. And unless we are conscious about it, then we're never going to step in to our future self. And we're going to be reacting all of the time. The key to self-mastery is conscious awareness. I've been saying this for 5, 6, 7 years now. And there's 2 differences between self-awareness and conscious awareness. Self-awareness is knowing, okay, I am self-sabotaging in my business or my relationships, or I am doing this with my money. Every time I get my income, it's a good income, I can pay all my bills, but then I'm overspending. And then I'm not putting money into my investments. These are the conversations that we have inside the mastermind. That's reactional. That's self-awareness. Is you see that conscious awareness is exactly the process I'm talking about today. Understanding what's imprinted on you, understanding how do we dissolve that, understanding where am I moving forward, what belief lens am I now looking in and adopting. So reactional versus responsive. The people who get the women in my world who get the most success, and I see them constantly pushing over, this challenge is called the path to the next edge. The women in my world who constantly get to the next edge are the women who are always being responsive. They're not being reactional. They're not taking things personally. They're the women that actually peer in and look in and want better for themselves. And whenever they get into reactional behavior, they start to think, how can I shift this to responsive behavior? How can I shift this to actually responding to where I am right now and collapsing time to respond in the way that I want to? Most women don't do that. Most women wonder why they're not at the next edge, but they're reacting in the same way that they always have in their relationships. Something I had to look at in my relationship before I attracted my high value partner that I have was, how was I just reacting in past relationships? Instead of responding and understanding myself and having a conscious awareness of the beliefs that I was operating in, I was reacting to everything. And the reaction was from the year before and the year before and the year before, the year before, and from my very first relationship. And those reactions stemmed from how I witnessed my parents. And most people stay in that mentality that they can't change, or this is just who I am. Have you ever said that? This is just the way I am. I know I have. That's a victim mentality, saying that this is just the way I am. This is just who I am. And if you are reacting like that, you are always going to repeat the same patterns. And so shifting into how can I respond instead? If you're not seeing the results that you desire in your business, if you feel like you're constantly hitting a income ceiling, you're reactional. And that could be like a hit to your ego right now, but it's something that's changed me. Instead of like taking everything personally, everything's a reflection, everything's a mirror of me, but it makes me respond to understanding what my current belief system, everything that's getting fed back to you, people in your life, the state of your business, the state of your career path, is in direct correlation with everything that's imprinted in your subconscious mind. And that's why subconscious mind calls with me. And like I said, if you're joining or you're watching a replay, like come into, and that is a special offer for this day, a subconscious imprinting session. And then you get the CEO goals workshop, and we get to the root of it. If you hit an income ceiling, if you feel like you're trying to attract a relationship, you're attracting the same people, or if you feel like in your relationship you're getting back into the self-sabotaging tendencies, that is you being in a reactional state and you're operating from the same imprinting. And it's always going to happen as we get to these next edges, but the better you master, the more that you master yourself, the better you get at responding. Do you understand? Drink break. Changing your belief system isn't hard. It just requires you to have focus and discipline. And yeah, that could be seen as hard with quotation marks, but it's also something that's very doable. That's the word I'm looking for. Also something that's very doable, can't speak, if you are intentional about your day-to-day. Most people just go about their day. They add things to their to-do list. They show up the way that they've always shown up, and then they wonder why their life hasn't fully blown up in the way that they wanted to. They wonder why they're not getting the results in their business, their relationships, their bank account, the experiences that they attract. And it's because of this. And everything that I teach you over the next 5 days is the path to the next edge. That's exactly why I'm teaching it, because it teaches you to go from the level that you currently are to your next edge. You need to shift these things. You need to hold yourself accountable to different standards. And so kind of just to bring in together for today, number one, understand where your subconscious imprinting comes from. What are your behaviors? What are your reactions? To break it down super simply, you want to look at the different areas of your life. I broke it down in 4 areas: business, career, wealth, money, health, wellness, relationships. You can break all of those down even further, but that's a great place to start. How am I behaving? What am I doing? The best part is like just to look at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. How are you operating in your business? How are you showing up every day? What's your health and wellness look like? What do you like in your relationship or relationships? You don't need to have a romantic relationship. And start to write down your reactions and how you are operating, and understand your behavior. Understand where that comes from. Were you super reaction? Are you always reactional when your partner asks you a question? Where does that come from? Is your to-do list in your business the same every single day? But you're thinking, I'm showing up, why am I getting the same results? That's reactional. It's not responsive. So we look at that. Where does our imprinting come from? We understand this is self-mastery as a woman. It's understanding yourself. It's building a relationship with yourself. This is a foundation. Everything that's to come in the next 4 days in this challenge, they are going to help, and it's going to like be a nice, neat little present at the end of this. This is why I said like this should be a paid program, but this is the foundational work. If you're building a house, you need this. You need this foundation, or everything else will waver. Everything else will feel shaky. From there, how are we dissolving? And I have a particular process that I teach all of my clients, and I'll take you through when you come into the subconscious imprinting session. A particular process to dissolve, to minimize. If you're feeling very polarized, and that could look like you've got something on a pedestal, maybe a goal, maybe a status, maybe something you want, or you're living in fear. Most people operate from the fear. When you are making decisions and choices from a fear-based place, it's never going to get you the result that you want. If you are always making decisions from a place of lack of scarcity, and it doesn't just have to be in money, but thinking that once you do this, you're going to lose out on something, or you're too scared to change because you've seen X amount of success, you are always going to vibrate and reflect back to you fear-based results. And that's why so many women will get to a certain point where it's like, I've seen this success and this is great, but why am I getting back to my old habits and behaviors? Or why do I feel every 3 or 6 months I'm repeating these exact same cycles? And so I have this certain process dissolving them. We need to dissolve the polarity. Are you in fantasy quadrant? Are you, my clients that are watching this now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Are you in the fantasy quadrant or are you in the fear quadrant? Both of those are highly polarized. Both of those are one end of the spectrum. We always want to operate and create a belief system that's from neutrality. I left a comment on someone's TikTok the other day. They were speaking about how influencers should be speaking about political issues. No matter what it is, they should. And I said that we follow influencers for beauty, for fashion, for travel, but an influencer doesn't need to have an opinion because you believe it's the right thing. Two truths coexist. And maybe right now you watching, that may be a bit of a conflict for you saying, but an influencer, you follow them for their beauty advice. You follow them for their travel suggestions. Unless that particular influencer, of course, you've traveled, that's a different question. But I said in this TikTok comment, I just said, there was two things. Is number one, you don't follow them for that, and they don't need to have an opinion and voice that just because you have said it and because you believe in that. That's your values. And another thing she said was, you need to come back. They need to be more in touch with reality. Influencers are in touch with their reality. That's their reality. When people say they need to bring back down to reality, you're saying that from your version, your level, your standard. And that's not neutrality. You're swinging from one point or the other. And when you see someone, you think they need to get more in touch with reality, that you are saying that in alignment with your reality, your belief system, your way of being. And it may conflict completely with your values, with your morals, with who you want to become, but that is okay. When you learn to operate, and I'm going to speak about more about this in probably day 4 and 5, but when you learn to operate from a place of neutrality, not from a fantasy and having something on a pedestal, not from fear-based and making a decision because you're in fear or you're in lack and you're in scarcity, when you can bring your belief system to a place of neutrality, you will, number one, see things for what they are. And number two, you will be able to move forward in your decisions, make decisions fast, and move forward in your decisions and move at a faster pace than most people. It doesn't mean you're rushing and you're doing everything, but you're seeing things for what they are. Something I teach my clients when they come to me with a question or they come to me with something, I say, have you actually seen things for what they are? Have you looked at both sides of the coins and understood? And that's the whole dissolution process when it comes to belief systems. And I take my clients through the WoMastery method. And then from there is like understanding what beliefs, what's the lens I want to put on now. And we're going to go more into that in day 2 tomorrow and day 3. What's the lens? How am I viewing myself? But how am I actually creating a belief system around that? My nose got really itchy all of a sudden. And so when we understand these things and we build a steady foundation of belief system, we build up from there. People who are always wavering, people have these, having a big vision, having a great grand vision board is great, but it means nothing if you're not able to execute it. And where most people fail, quotation marks, because failure equals feedback, and I'll touch on that in a sec, but where most people fail is they don't execute because they are operating from the exact same belief system, imprinting that they always have. So why would they get to the next edge when they're operating from a belief system that they picked up 5 years ago? You couldn't get to the next edge. That's exactly why you are where you are right now. You can't possibly be the same person and have the same belief system and get to the next edge. It just doesn't happen. And so doing this subconscious reprogramming, this is the first phase of Woman Mastery, is where we start to actually make a change. You cannot, unless you dissolve what's imprinted on your subconscious mind right now and bring into a new lens of belief. It doesn't matter if you want that $1 million business. It doesn't matter if you want that cottage with 100 puppies with your partner. It doesn't matter if you want the first class travel, or it doesn't matter if you want to go spend 6 months in Thailand with baby orphanage or orphan elephants. You're not going to get what you have as a vision unless you are operating from a belief system that is in alignment with that vision. It just doesn't happen. And that's where most people struggle. They add more and more and more and more onto their plate. High achievers, you and I, success-driven women, you and I, we think, and I've been here, and I say this with so much love, We think that the thing is like, let's write out 1 million to-do lists. Let's add this. Let's do this. No, operate smarter. And what I said before, and we'll go more into that in day 2, but what I said before, failure equals feedback. My most successful clients, they will fail quickly. They will fail fast. They look forward to failure. They jump in, they dissolve the belief, they jump in, and they fail quickly, and they learn from that, and they make decisions fast. Women who aren't making decisions fast are the women who stay left behind, are the women who never get to their next edge, are the women who will never achieve what they truly desire. And you are worth so much. You are worthy of all those desires. You are worthy of the life that you're envisioning as I'm speaking. You get to have that. This is a crazy thing, is we're now in a world where it's built on so much fear. But if you let that fear dictate your life, you will stay there for the rest of your life. But you are worth everything you want. If you asked me in 2017, if you told me in 2017 with the belief system I had that you are going to have a multi-six-figure business, you're going to be traveling the world with your soulmate partner, you're going to be living in your dream apartment, you're going to start your business by quitting your job and moving to Bali, you're going to go away to Europe for 2 months and Africa for a month. In 2017, with the belief system I had, it was never going to happen. If someone told me, I'd be like, fuck, that sounds good, but like I genuinely don't believe it. And so I went on this journey, and that's why in 2019, I quit my job. I moved to Bali from Perth, Western Australia, and I started this business. But the foundation is your belief system. It's having this unwavering belief in your abilities and having faith along that. But the faith can come. The faith doesn't waver, and it feels stronger when you actually create a belief system through the lens of who you want to be, not the lens of who you have been. That's when it doesn't waver. One thing I said, I think I did a YouTube live about this like a couple of weeks ago. If it's one thing that has really pushed me to the next edge over the past couple of years, it's having the deep faith in what I desire and my belief. And anytime something's not matching up, or I'm not seeing the results that I desire, or it's like I'm operating from this scarce place, it's like that I need to go back to phase 1, which is exactly what I'm talking about. And if you want to work on this with me, if you're like, yeah, I need to do some belief system work, book in a session, a subconscious imprinting session. Like I said, if you have watched this, you're watching the replay or here live now, you get that for $150, plus you get the CEO Monday workshop, #1 goals workshop for high achievers. The 60 minutes with me is invaluable. It's invaluable. Like one phone call with me, you don't understand the amount of change, the amount of phone calls that I've had with women that have booked a one-off session like this. And then they've messaged me a couple of days later and they're like, hey, how can I work with you long time? How can I actually sign up for you for 12 months? Like I give my all in phone calls, in the Zoom calls that I have with my clients. This is why they're so potent. This is why my mastermind clients every single week, when they get a call with me, they're moving, their life is moving, they're smashing it out, because this is the foundation. Tomorrow, day 2, we're going to go into I'm really going to go deeper into the lens part, the visionary lens, your identity, the reprogramming identity, because this is the foundation. But to make the the body of the house, we need to actually understand, what does that identity look like? What does the embodiment look like? Because once we change our belief systems, we need to change our identity. We need to change our habits and behaviors. We need to change, like, what does it mean to actually respond in your 3D physical reality? That's what we are going to cover. Any questions from this live, let me know. If you're watching the replay, make sure you comment that. If you want to book in a session, that is only available for this week. Like if you're watching this past, like what's today, August 19th, past that, it's expired. So capitalize on it. You don't need to book in that session this week, but you need to message this week after you watch this live. Capitalize on that. I am probably going to be, and if you're watching YouTube, same thing, comment or slide into my DMs. I'm more than likely going to be putting this on my podcast. So all of you listening to the Jessica Pinili podcast, you can slide into my DMs and you can get this session. You just need to know that you've listened to this. But this was fun. And this is only day one. This is only day one. And I want you, the tangible things that I've gotten you, I promise you, you start to witness yourself in your belief system and how you're currently operating. It's going to start to make a change. And you've got 4 more days of this. This is what I said. This needs to be a paid masterclass because it's gold in this. But you've got 4 more days of this. I'm so excited to see you tomorrow. I'm going to start the second phase of Woman Mastery, the identity path phase, the visionary lens phase. But book in a session with me. Let me know. Slide into my DMs. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Bye.